We are back. Thursday, the adult in the room with Victoria Taft. How are you? What a chock full program we have for you today. I'm so pleased that you are here. Comment and also share. Let's see what else. Get notifications, whatever it is that you need to do to stay with the program to get some sanity from the adult in the room on some of these stories that have come down the pike. For example, the Epstein story today. They're just, are we done with this stuff yet? Well, we'll go through it. Also, I have an excellent interview that I'm going to play for you. I conducted it earlier this week with J. Christian Adams. Now, here's a guy who is on the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, former Department of Justice elections attorney, and a man who runs the Public Interest Legal Foundation, which specializes in nothing but election law, about this new mail-in ballot case being taken by the U.S. Supreme Court in the next session, which will be, I think it's next year. Okay. Lots to do. Maybe it'll take it later this season. I don't know. June, they're usually rolled up, they're wrapped up. So, he didn't dispute me when I said that. Anyway, lots to talk about. You got to keep the people in the streets. Did you know that? We have multiple cases of keeping people in the streets on today's Adult in the Room podcast with moi. And the whole thing with the radical left, I'm not talking about Democrats per se. I'm talking, I would say that I'm more of a liberal, classical liberal than anything else, because that's how I grew up. And the Democrats aren't that anymore. They've gone radical. They are now part of the commie wing, for lack of a better word. And so many of their leadership is in that milieu, that mindset. They've come up through the Saul Alinsky and whatever iteration has come along following Saul Alinsky, to the extent where now they know, if you listen to their words, now they know they need to keep the people in the streets. That's the rabble. That's the Antifa. That's the far left radicals who have nothing better to do on a day that ends in a Y, all kinds of things. And you'll see iteration after iteration after iteration after example of that in today's Adult in the Room podcast. It's important. Okay, so plenty to talk about. But first, at all of the recent radical congregations, whether you want to call them riots or protests, active protests, direct actions, and what have you, these folks have always had signs about Jeffrey Epstein, because the Democrats were told, hey, let's just keep ragging on Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. They knew each other. They were both in Palm Beach. They were both in New York. They were both multimillionaires in a big pond in New York and recreated in Palm Beach, and they know each other. And yeah, they did know each other. And everybody's known that from the gate. But what's really interesting now is that this issue is being recast now as an issue that Democrats have to think about and cogitate over and get angry over. Oh, we have to be angry. Get in the streets. Jeffrey Epstein. Trump knows he's hiding something about Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. So the shutdown occurs. That's happening for 3 weeks. The Democrats have nothing but egg on their faces. Clearly, they are really sucking eggs at this, and they are going to take the blame because it's their deal. They're the ones who voted against reopening the government 15 times. And it wasn't until the 15th, 16th time over the last few days that they said, oh, okay, we'll do it. And so many of the far left reaches of the Democrat Party and the official party, the people who were elected and that sort of thing, they came out and said, this is outrageous. I can't believe they did this. This is upsetting. They just completely capitulated. True. Obviously it happened. They capitulated. Sure they did. And the reason they capitulated is because keeping the government closed was really a very bad idea. Okay. It was a very, 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 very bad idea because people were, looking at Thanksgiving and thinking, I'm really not sure we're going to be able to put on the big turkey dinner that we thought we were going to be able to, or catch a flight to grandma's house for Thanksgiving because of all the shutdowns. From the TSA to the folks over at TSA, the people who are making sure that you can get on the plane safely, the air traffic controllers. I mean, all those guys were, for the most part, no shows. Okay. So that was what happened. The trigger was pulled after the Democrats lost the shutdown, and it was a colossal failure on their part. We're not entirely sure. We assume that the whole thing was done because Chuck Schumer, who never probably would have done this in the beginning anyway, decided that he needed to watch over his left flank as AOC considers primarying him. And both he and the leader of the Democrats decided, hey, this is our best shot. Let's keep the government closed. We'll call it, it'll be a big thing. It'll get people in the streets. Okay. So some people are saying, hey, wait, Victoria, very bad idea. And somebody else, Daydream, says, well, now wait a minute. Let's just show some of these comments. Daydream says, wondering, maybe it's just taking up a question about what I just said. But here's the way it's laid out. So that in the very second that the government was reopened, what did you hear? Democrats have released the Epstein emails. And all of a sudden, Epstein emails are all over the place. And we are supposed to get all excited about that because obviously we have to make sure that we keep people angry and in the streets. And that's the point. That was the point of that. So here's what we have. They have 3 of these emails that they released yesterday. And then we're supposed to now, because it has Donald Trump's name in them, that we're supposed to divine something very nefarious for him having been a part of the conversation in the email. So you're going to see these emails. These are pretty hilarious as far as I'm concerned. And let's see, where's the email, Victoria? Let's just check it out. Well, I tell you what, let's go over to Technofog. Technofog is a former, I just want to make sure I can add this to the stage. Technofog is a former federal DOJ lawyer. Okay. And he is, let's see, why am I not getting this? Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure I get this doggone thing going. Okay. Technofog, where are you? Hey, Alex, let me know if you can see this. Oh, I got to get the window though. Hold on. But where's I just opened the window, so I want to make sure I get it. Yeah. Should be this one. I hate when stuff go wrong. It happens a lot in radio. Trust me, it happens so much, and I'm so tired of it. But here you go. No, that was something else. I don't even know. Okay, well, we've got these. We've got the pictures of the emails. I took screenshots of the emails, and I want you to be able to see them. And let's see here. Here's Technofog's post. And I'll show you this. That's oversight. Here is Technofog's post. Why in the hell am I having trouble with this? Here we go. So we've got Technofog has a reply to these and presents the supporting evidence that the emails supposedly showing that Trump has done something wrong, not that they know, right? Showing that he's done something wrong don't really show that he's done anything wrong. Indeed, what these emails show is, and they redact a name, and they want him to be seen at the scene of the crime with a woman or young girl, teenager at the time, who was at Jeffrey Epstein's house. Well, that's Virginia Jeffrey. And Virginia Jeffrey, or Giuffre, as you prefer to call it, was one of the women who came out and she became outed in the whole Jeffrey Epstein affair. She turned state's evidence on him. She wrote a memoir. She testified. She did all that she could do in that trial. And indeed, Virginia Jeffrey also, before she killed herself years later, left what could be, I guess, a dying declaration wherein she mimicked what she'd already said previously in testimony, in interviews, in the media, and now in her dying declaration book, that Donald Trump had, she never saw Donald Trump with any women, young girls or anything. She never saw them both together, Epstein and Trump. And so that's really the countermeasure to these emails that the Democrats are so excited to get out there. And I had them all screenshotted, but where are they? She said. So hold on, let me find them again. Ay. Oh, here we go. Here's the first one. Let's do this one. Sorry, guys. Epstein. I've got 5,000 Epstein things. Epstein, standby. Here we go. Here's one of them. And what this one talks about, and I can't even see it very well because I didn't make myself a copy. And is it from Michael Wolff? I don't know. It's just one of them. And it alludes to the fact that all of these allude to the fact they have Donald Trump's name in them. So therefore, that you can tell what happened. There's a tranche of emails. The Democrats say we need to pivot to another issue. We need people angry in the streets, and we need to do it right now because the shutdown was such a colossal failure. And so let's get all of the emails with the emails that have his name in it. And none of them does anything to paint Trump in a bad light, as far as I can tell. This is me, okay? But you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that from some of the reaction. Oh, he's there. Look at Donald Trump is there. He's got a name in it. Michael Wolff, check this out. Michael Wolff is a man who talked with Jeffrey Epstein via email, right? And he talked with Jeffrey Epstein in 2016, and one of the emails is him talking with Jeffrey Epstein in 2016 after Jeffrey Epstein is in trouble with the law, and he tries to get Jeffrey Epstein to talk smack about Donald Trump so that it will help him with Hillary Clinton, because everyone knows Hillary Clinton is going to win and the election. So this started ages ago. Now check this out. So Michael Wolff wrote a book, a Jeffrey Epstein book. And here it is, actually. Let me find that for you. It just goes on and on. He's written like 3 books on Donald Trump. And so this is quite interesting. This was the first one. And we all just went, what are you letting that guy into the White House for? Donald Trump let Michael Wolff into the White House to do an interview. And Michael Wolff just wrote a scathing memoir. Actually, it wasn't a memoir. It wasn't his memoir. It was just Donald Trump is such a crazy guy. Well, he's written like 3 books about Donald Trump. And so he wanted to scare up some more information, some more dirt on Donald Trump, and he tried. And he wrote 3 books about Donald Trump. And he talked to Jeffrey Epstein to get information on Donald Trump. And guess what? He didn't get any. He said that to ingratiate himself to Hillary, he might want to make something up. He was conspiring yet again to get Trump. And he didn't like him. Okay, people are entitled not to like someone. It's okay. It doesn't necessarily help their case, but, So let's go over the background. We've got one with Michael Wolff. We've got another one in which there's someone saying that Donald Trump spent hours, Jeffrey Epstein saying that with Virginia Jeffrey. And there's no evidence of that except Jeffrey Epstein years later. Oh, yeah, okay, well, where's the evidence? All right, where's the evidence? So here's what's going on here. Let's find out what the odds are that Donald Trump is involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, we know. These are a few things we know. He's never been on the plane. He's not on the manifests. We already have that list. That list has been out for years. He has not made any of the other things that have come out about Jeffrey Epstein. There was a 33,000 email and document tranche that was released months ago because, Trump, Mr. Transparency, let's let him out. The only thing Trump was concerned about, this was the secondary sources, people who know him and talk to him. He's afraid that people who are involved on Jeffrey Epstein's list, these business tycoons and stuff like that, might get out and they had nothing to do with any of the girls and stuff like that. Because it turns out Jeffrey Epstein was quite the financier and financed lots of things, such as the Iran-Contra situation. So there are many things in Jeffrey Epstein's past which he would prefer to keep under wraps. And there were a lot of people chit-chatting with Jeffrey Epstein and doing business with Jeffrey Epstein. And Donald Trump, they might be donors to Donald Trump, but they may not be, diddlers. Okay, bad people other than being capitalists. And I think he wants to protect those people. We've already known that Donald Trump has not had anything to do with any of the nefarious activity. And how do I know that? Well, I know that because Maureen Comey, that name might ring a bell to you. Maureen Comey was the prosecutor in the Epstein case, and that was also had a hand in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. She's James Comey's daughter. This was in New York, the Southern District of New York. This case was, and Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter, who I think it's fair to say loathed Donald Trump, leaked some information. She leaked some. And then, you know what happened? That's it. If she had intel on Donald Trump and any nefarious activity, don't you think she would have released it by now? Yes, I understand the fact that a lot of people say that, but do you think that maybe if Maureen Comey, who hated Donald Trump, lived in New York and her father hated Donald Trump and whose father was fired by Donald Trump, do you think that she would have withheld anything that somehow made Trump look bad? This is the best they can do, is these doggone emails that say his name that don't really tell us anything. So, very interesting as far as I'm concerned. Let's see. I want to make sure I find Technofog. Here we go. Let's do this. So here's Technofog. He's the former DOJ guy. And he's talking about Virginia Jeffries' testimony previously in which she never wavered, that said that there was never Donald Trump involved in any of this nefarious stuff with the girls, the continuing prostitution. It was a prostitution ring. And what he did with that intel, don't know. There's some case to be made that it wasn't necessarily a bribery scandal that made him all his money. I don't know. I think he just got inside on some pretty money deals. And of course, he was able to be the lawyer for one of the richest men in the United States who started a multi-gazillion-dollar company that involved some of the fashion and all sorts of things. So, I mean, he was the person who had power of attorney over that. So maybe that's where he derived some of his funding and that sort of thing. It's not thought that he bribed people, but it's certainly, if you've got like P. Diddy, and by the way, Maureen Comey, P. Diddy lost the P. Diddy case. I mean, she's just really, going. So if she wanted to spill any stuff on Donald Trump, she would have. And I think she tried. I actually think that she's the one who, this is my personal opinion. I can have an opinion. I think that when some story came out a few months back, or probably within the last year and a half, let's say that, in which Donald Trump was said to have sent Jeffrey Epstein a 50th birthday card written by Donald Trump, and that Donald Trump wrote a picture and said crazy stuff. It wasn't really that even that crazy. It was just dumb. It was really stupid if somebody wrote you this. But Donald Trump, because I never drew a picture. He still to this day says he never drew that card, the picture, nothing. There's never been any signature or there's a handwriting analysis, nothing whatsoever to prove that Donald Trump had anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein sending that note, even though they'd been tight in previous times, right? So, well, I'd say, were they tight? I mean, they knew each other. They were big dogs. They're, alpha males in New York and Palm Beach. Okay, they knew each other. And of course we know, because it's out there in the public domain, and if you don't know this, you need to know this, Donald Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago because he kept poaching the kids, I say, and his workers. And he'd have them come work for him. So the people who worked in the spa, Virginia Jeffrey was one of them. Trump said, no, dude, stop it. And Ghislaine Maxwell was the one poaching the talent. So he confronted Jeffrey Epstein and he said, stop stealing my workers, okay? People like her, whatever. And, because Mar-a-Lago is really a she, got a very, very she spa. Okay. And then one of his members came up to him at Mar-a-Lago. And, what is it, like isn't it 500 million? I don't even know. How much does it cost to join Mar-a-Lago? I mean, millions and millions and millions of dollars. You got to be uber rich to be there, of which Epstein was. And so one of the members comes to Donald Trump and says, hey, this guy's hitting on my kid. And Donald Trump said, oh, hell no. And you know what? Donald Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago and forbade him from coming back. Now, for whatever reason, that never seems to make the papers. Remember those things that we used to, they're newspapers, they're periodicals. So, okay. So we've got that backdrop. Now, here's something else I want to unfold to you since I'm yammering on. Let's say if you wanted to get Donald Trump, you would start lawfare against Donald Trump. And so they did when he announced he was going to run again. Now check this out. Here are the Trump legal cases. I had Perplexity draw me up a colorful graph. Now these are very interesting things. So here are the cases, the green's the cases. The red are the millions of dollars they tried to extract from Donald Trump. And then the other color, which is blue, is the number of years they wanted him in prison. And you'll see they continue to wrench up the amounts of money, time in the slammer, and others. And it all started in 2017. There was a little bit one there. And then this was after the Hillary launches the Russia collusion thing. Hillary launches that in the run-up in this summer before the election. Okay, so we have that. So now check this out. There we go. Now, who was doing that? Who was doing it? Well, of course, we have all these usual targets. Check this out. Oh, that's my other one. That's another one I got. So here are the people, the names of the people who were behind most, if not all, of the Trump lawsuits leading up through his first presidency, through when he announced in 2022 that he's running again. They ramped up everything. That's when Mar-a-Lago was raided. That's when they started hitting him with all kinds of, the classified documents thing, etc. Now check this out. The blue of our previous graph, I'll show it to you again, represents all of the cases that Mark Elias, Hillary's attorney during Russia, he was at Perkins Coie, and he is responsible for all the ones that were blue cases. So these down here, right here. All right. Then we've got, let's see, Norm Eisen. Now, and let's go back to Mark Elias for just a second, the blue guy. Democracy docket, he leads now. Then he has headed almost all of the election litigation cases. He's part of an organization that went after keeping the president off the actual, you wanted to keep him from being able to vote for Donald Trump. These are the people who say that they are for democracy, trying to keep him off the ballot because of the 14th Amendment. Remember that one? Yeah. So green is Norm Eisen. Green is Norm Eisen, who is the impeachment counsel and ethics investigations into Donald Trump and his people who worked with him. So let's go look at Norm Eisen's cases. So Norm Eisen's cases are a lot more than Mark Elias's. And here we go again. Then who funded them? In red, it's Reid Hoffman. Now, this is an interesting name. Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn. He's a billionaire, and he's a big lefty. There's no law against that. He's also a guy who Elon Musk continually said was on the Jeffrey Epstein list. So if you want to distract from somebody who's really on the, that list, possibly, I mean, that's what Elon Musk says, you might look no farther than Reid Hoffman bankrolling all of these lawsuits. He also did the democracy lawsuits, the strategic funding, the E.G. Carroll lawsuit. Remember that one? And let's see. And then there were other ones. The ones in gray are the, other proxies for the Dems. Okay. I don't even see the gray ones. All right. Fair enough. Then we have those. The point of all of this, they went after Donald Trump for all of these different cases. If they had anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein, if they had the goods on him for Jeffrey Epstein, they had the prosecutor going after the Epstein cases, Ghislaine Maxwell, and they had her in their back pocket. Don't you think they would have revealed it during any number of these cases that you see here? Look at that. They wanted to keep him in prison for hundreds of years. They wanted to bankrupt him. Indeed, they debanked him and his family business. They debanked him like he was a Canadian trucker. They did. They went after him for supposedly expanding the amount of money that his properties were worth that he borrowed against and then paid back with interest to New York bankers. That's the Letitia James one. Now, the DOJ at the Biden administration parachuted in a DOJ lawyer to take point on those cases. If there were something about, and that was at SDNY, Southern District of New York office in New York, Manhattan, and you're not going to believe this, but that's exactly where Maureen Comey worked. If Maureen Comey had the goods on Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, you don't think that maybe it would have been brought up, do you? Okay. So this is just dumb and dumber. But nevertheless, here are the headlines. Check this out. Oops, sorry, I just removed it. Hire me. So these are, I saw this on Facebook today. So everybody's just going absolute, nuts. Occupy Democrats. Oh no, revealed the Epstein email showed that he gave something time to the girls. The New York Times saying that sex offenders conduct. Wait, let me just stop that. I don't want to read that. Sorry, you guys. Released emails in which Jeffrey Epstein alleged that Donald Trump knew of the convicted sex offender's conduct and spent hours at my house with a victim. That victim, quote unquote, who was a victim, Virginia Jeffrey, who testified in court under oath that that did not happen. More headlines. Okay. Direct correspondence between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And the Democrats at the Democracy docket, in getting an assist from those guys, that would be our friend Mark Elias, now say, well, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell thought it was really interesting that Trump was the dog that didn't bark. What does that mean? Well, we have no idea. But Trump's name's there, so they're going to release it to at least discuss the fact that Trump had something to do with Jeffrey Epstein, and they knew each other. And this was, what's year? This is 2011, after he's been kicked out of Mar-a-Lago, after he's been prosecuted by the feds in the southern Florida area. So he's got it out for Trump, whatever. But honestly, if this is supposed to be a big scandal, I say release all of it. Just release it all and just be done with it. Now let's go over here. I just want to do one last thing. If I can get my thing to work. Here's Technofog's thing. Let's just see. I hope we can we see Technofog? Probably not, because I don't have that brought up. Stand by. I just don't understand where it is. Da-da-da-da-da. I done those? Is this it? No, that's the text. No, that's another. Here's another email. I'll put it up there while I'm looking for the Technofog thing. Okay. So I'm going to add this to the stage, and then I'm going to go over to go here. There's what I want to do. And I'm going to highlight this. And I'm going to make sure I can get this back up. Oh, these are such a big pain in the rear. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Know what I mean, man? Okay, finally. Okay, so here's Trump. Alex, can you give me a heads up you could see this? Because sometimes, you never know. Oh, you never know. No, you can't see this because this Democrat thing is still up. Well, maybe that's where Technofog is. Nope. Epstein victim testimony clears Trump. I mean, it always does. So Jeffrey testified in court, in depositions, in testimony, etc., that Trump had nothing to do with anything. She never saw him. She wasn't an expert on the perv, but on the other hand, she, that's basically what the deal was. So so this is what people are saying. Trump is saying, oh, come on, this is a hoax. And it's because part of the reason Trump says that's a hoax is because he's seen what they did. He has seen in the past what they did with the Russia thing and how they've revisited things such that he's afraid that they've put misinformation in there. I don't blame him. I mean, you saw what they did to him, right? So I would say that that's probably a pretty darn good reason for not wanting to have everything come out wholesale. But on the other hand, let's go. I'm sorry that somebody's going to get hurt, but everybody's baying for the blood. So that's the story. The point being, if they were going to bring anything out, and if they knew Jeffrey Epstein in 2015, when Trump was deciding to run for president, and they already tried the Russia thing on him, and that didn't, well, eventually we found out it didn't work, but it took years. It just totally dogged his presidency. And then they impeached him twice, one of which was by Norm Eisen for I think it was the Ukrainian phone call. Remember that? I mean, that was just bogus. So if they had anything, they would have brought it out, for crying out loud. They sued him for everything. Look how many lawsuits. This is probably not even a full list. Look at all the lawsuits. Look, Hundreds of years they wanted him in prison. Here's another 100 years plus. And then millions, actually a $500 million fine that he had to come up with like now, unless, so to satisfy Letitia James' lawsuit in New York. And so they did everything they could to get him, and it didn't work. It didn't, because they had nothing on him with respect to Epstein, nothing. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump is a Boy Scout. I'd say he probably is now, but I'd say, over time, I mean, he was a randy dude. He went out on his wives. One of the things, the interesting thing on the, you know what his first reaction to James Comey, Maureen's dad, FBI director who was later fired by Trump, his first reaction to finding out that there was Oppo research. Oh, he wasn't told it was Oppo research. He was being given a defensive hearing. And so meeting for James Comey to share all the Steele dossier crapola. Okay. The first reaction was, oh my gosh, Melania would kill me if she got wind of any of this. This is terrible. I mean, of course, he wasn't there. He didn't have hookers jumping on the bed in a Moscow hotel. Nothing. It was all made up. We found out. Of course, we knew it was all made up. But believe me, if they're willing to trot out hookers peeing on beds in front of Donald Trump, a germaphobe, trust me, they'd make stuff up about Jeffrey Epstein. So, of course, he thinks that the Democrats are doing something nefarious. Of course, he thinks that there were a few stink bombs left in the Epstein files. Of course, they think that. Of course, they do. Of course, he does. I don't blame him. But let's just, But the thing is that they got to keep the people in the streets. They've got to satisfy the bloodlust of people who dare want this guy, brought to heel. Now, here's how it's being worked. Now, here's Mark Elias's group. See, this is how they're now pivoting on the narrative of Epstein stuff. And it was the Epstein shutdown all along. Mark is the one who sends the message, and he's the signal, and everyone else is the receiver. So he has, what about the Republicans? It was never clear why they wanted to end the shutdown. It was never clear why the Republicans, that's his proof. It was never really clear why the Republicans wanted to end the shutdown, says Mark Elias, the man who brought, how many lawsuits against Donald Trump? Let's go look at them. Lots of them. Mark Elias is the blue one down here. Multiple lawsuits against him. So now he's doing the dog whistle or whatever we're calling it these days, and telling everybody, it was the Epstein shutdown. And everybody online, on the Twitters, on the X's, on the blue skies, went along with it. Oh, it was the Epstein shutdown. Because the people in the streets are what matter. I can guarantee you. Showed up at this story at Berkeley the other night. $20 says there were people with Jeffrey Epstein signs in their hands when Antifa took off after a Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA event at Berkeley, UC Berkeley. Now, I want you to remember as we go along here that UC Berkeley is the cradle of the free speech movement. Please accept my offering here and roll your eyes accordingly.
I've seen at least one fight break out. Amanda.
Yeah, things have been lively here. While that Turning Point USA event is still happening inside, protesters have been out here for hours. You can see them still here behind me. They have been chanting, just a very, very lively scene out here. While things have been mostly peaceful, there have been some tense moments. Earlier this evening, there was a scuffle that broke out where two men started fighting. UC Berkeley police had to break up that interaction. Later, someone was throwing smoke bombs and a car backfired, leading some of the people who were protesting to run away. The protest was put together by students organizing for liberation. Some students say they don't believe UC Berkeley should host a large Turning Point USA event like this one, but other people are happy to be here for the event.
Okay, lady.
USA should not be here, and they are like a fascist organization, and nobody here agrees with what they are saying. And obviously, Charlie Kirk has been a big issue with like a lot of college campuses.
Okay, just notice something. This PAP was uncontested by this reporter.
People on college campuses, so we just think like, I mean, obviously, I didn't really follow him a lot, but knowing what he did and knowing the things.
Okay, stop right here. I'm going to take it back. So he's a fascist. He's this, he's that. But I didn't really know what he said. I want you to appreciate that stupidity. She's a college student.
Turning Point USA should not be here, and they are like a fascist organization, and nobody here agrees with what they are saying. And obviously, Charlie Kirk has been a big issue with like a lot of college campuses and people on college campuses. So we just think like, I mean, obviously, I didn't really follow him a lot, but knowing what he did and knowing the things that he was saying, it's just like vile and disgusting. So we don't want to support his organization, and I don't think that the Berkeley chancellor should have let them come here.
We don't think that the place that began the free speech movement back in the 60s should have somebody of his ilk be at the college, at the university. So much for free speech. Of course, Antifa, anti-free speech, as far as I'm concerned. So that's the acronym for me. Okay. So then we go to the University of Oregon, where some people who got bored of going to the ice nothingness in Portland decided that they were going to go and have a chat, sort of Charlie Kirk style, with students in an area that was adjacent to campus. And this is what happened. There were people who were given whistles. I'll tell you a little bit about that coming up. This is how it looked.
Get a job! 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 Get
a job. Well, you could give them points for that one, okay? And the reason why is because you think that the job is something that people oftentimes will yell at them. So maybe that's where they got the idea. Okay, so here's the interesting thing. The whistles that you saw, those are the rape whistles that they hand out to chicks on the campus before, here's your rape whistle. No one's actually going to come help, but it's a whistle. It's a rape whistle, and it's orange. Guess who was handing out the whistles to drown out the people trying to have a dialogue with students about everything from trans stuff to who knows what, capitalism, freedom. Guess who was doing that? Who's that? Oh, is this another one? Oh, okay.
Who wants a whistle?
Who wants a whistle?
I'm good. I don't choose to be loud.
I hate this. This is what happens there too with megaphones.
This is
Who wants and you get a whistle.
This is not how it's supposed
and
to go.
you get a whistle.
No, like it could have been completely like.
This is from Right Side Rebel.
Like that.
So,
Okay.
and he's leading the deal here. Okay. Keep him in the streets, baby. Shut him up. Yeah, it's annoying. So it's Jack Kemp, the online education media producer at the University of Oregon in Eugene. Now, remember in our conversation that we had on Tuesday with our friend Ty, who's a former Antifa guy in Eugene. So this was, on brand, right? So go watch that if you didn't see it. He's quite lovely and in many respects, and perfect for maybe doing something like that. I suppose there were a few things that they did on campus, which we'll talk about next time he's on. I hope he comes back. Jack Kemp, not to be confused with the person I think of when I think of Jack Kemp is the former senator who's the former football star, blah, blah, blah. But this is Jack Kemp. He's an online education media producer. Oh, I didn't mean to actually put his phone number on that, so I apologize. But anyway, he works for the university and a friend of mine. In fact, you just saw him on the program a couple weeks back, or a week or so back, Dan Sandini, and he wrote a letter to the university going, why are you hiring people to give out whistles to drown out free speech people? Why is that a thing here? What's happening here? It's just given the imprimatur of the university campus to give people objects to shut other people up, to destroy. This is a typical Antifa thing, You have people with cowbells. You have people with you've got the bullhorns. You've got people who have, the whistles. It happens all the time. It's like the umbrella. Remember the umbrella guy who came up to me when I was walking through the ICE situation, and he puts the umbrella in front of my, it's just infantile. It's not liberal, because these people aren't liberal. They are leftists. Leftists' ideas cannot stand the light of day. That is why they want people to shut up, which is why they whistle in their faces.
Get a job! Get a job! Get a job!
And then they, you're going to love this. And they have this shirt that they're wearing flying around. I wonder who printed that for them. Huh? It's Trump killing himself, so it's disgusting, naturally, because there's only one speed for these people, right? Disgusting. So what can we learn from this? Well, ideas that the left disagrees with should be drowned out. They should be silenced. Why? Because the people who utter things with which they disagree are fascists, right? That's what they say. I'm a fascist. Hey, you're a fascist. And you're a fascist. Right? No, of course not. We're just normal people who just thought we were growing up in a free society that allows people to have constructive conversations between adults. And they don't want that. Let's go to Oakland. Let's go to Oakland. Now that we're done with the folks from Eugene, and we've already been to Portland, and they don't want to hear from anybody. We've got a University of Oregon individual who is on the payroll, the University of Oregon, and he is handing out the whistles to drown out the free speech of other people. Because, you can't have the poor babies. You can't have the poor babies hearing those things, right? Oh, let's go to Portland. Let's go to Portland one more time. I want to show you something. This is Katie Daviscourt's video here, in which they find a woman. She's on a ride-along with a nice guy. Hey, what do you do every day? Well, you want to go on a ride-along? I'd love to go on. Next time I'm in the PNW, I'm going to go on a ride-along if they'll let me. So what happens? Well, they find a woman driving a car who's following ICE officers. Now, you might think, oh, well, that's protected speech. That's protected activity. Well, not when you break 1,000 laws when you're doing it. And, of course, doxing the ICE agents. This is how it went for her. Look at her speeding.
Just ran a red light.
Just ran a red light.
She were up with you.
Yeah,
And then she's cutting in front of that guy.
Right behind you now.
And now she's going to come up on the ICE vehicle or Border Patrol vehicle cars.
Let me do this.
Now they're going to block her in.
Yeah, come down here. Fine road.
Okay. Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights.
And there she is. Watch this.
Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Hey, wait.
She tries to drive away. He's going, oh, heck no.
Turn on the lights.
Not doing that. This is the type of beyond civil disobedience, actual law breaking to make a point to shut other people up.
We have you on camera. We actually have news reporters with us in the vehicle. Your case will be referred over to Homeland Security investigations for prosecution.
Now, I just want you to. This is a woman who telegraphed what she was doing before she began chasing the ICE officers and bird dogging them. And so now check out. I think this is totally fake. I think she was encouraged to do this. Now, if you get caught, just tell them, I'm just a mother. I'm just a mother. Yeah, so she does that. She tries to pull that one on the guy, and he's being way too nice to her, but there we are.
You'll be arrested. This is your last and final warning. Hold on a second, guys. Give me your license, please. I will once again tell you, you have cases in danger.
I don't think he took a picture of it, which he should have done.
Park and shut it off, please. I understand, but you are impeding. Look where you're at. You are almost causing an accident. You are surrounded by federal agents. Okay, I am the Deputy Field Office Director here, ma'am. Stand by. We're running the name. We're going to refer this case over for enforcement action.
I'm just a mom, please.
You got it?
Please, I'm just a mom, please.
I'm just a mom, please.
Riley?
Please.
Yes, please.
Please. Oh,
You
stop
are
it.
You turn around and get out of here.
I'm getting out of here.
Here you go. Slow down.
Yes.
Hey,
I'm getting out.
guys, I got it. I got it. Got it. Everybody break away. Everybody break away.
I'm going home.
Kylie,
Look at those people of color working for ICE. Those racists.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
He's so nice to her.
Okay, I need you right now. Take a deep breath. I want you to pull over right here and go home. Okay? Take a deep breath.
I'm shaking.
You may leave. Please turn around. I'm gonna stop traffic for you. Go. Okay?
You may leave. Okay. So they take the law into their own hands and they say, well, basically we're the law. Those are the people on the streets. Those are the people they need to go on the streets. Take the law into their own hands. Stymie the things that they take issue with and pretend that they hold the moral authority. Hey, we're stopping these guys. They're kidnapping people. With warrants? Do you kidnap with warrants? I never thought that that's actually the way it happened, because it's not kidnapping. They're actually arresting people with warrants in their hands that they show them. They just don't show you. I'm just a mom, because it ain't your beeswax. Now, this is how bad things can go. This is how bad things can go when you try to take the law in your own hands. Now, I had not seen this video. I had not seen this case. I had not seen any of it. And this happened in Oakland 3 weeks ago. I'd show you all the video I have on this, but I can't. I really... Ugh. But here, suffice it to say, a person who's a trans person, because part of Trantifa, there's a huge subsect of people in Antifa that are the people who, they feel a little bit disparaged or what have you. And so they join up with Antifa to do antisocial things like this, for example. And check this out. Now, I will tell you,
I want to see if I can get the face. Oh, they brought food. If anyone can DM me this, that would be great.
So this is this guy. I'm not sure how often he's out there in the
because
field.
I would love to know who this person is.
As would we. Well, we already know. We now know. So watch this. I just want you to see what happens. I'm going to speed forward. We've got better video of it, so hang on there. So this guy, this person is a guy who thinks he's a girl. We find out later. They're at the Coast Guard. they're at the Coast Guard, and that's where ICE has been meeting up to go out on their operations. So Coast Guard, they have armed security in the street. They've been blocking the street to prevent them from getting out the entire day. And what's interesting about this is the narrative setting that it was attempted by the people who were aiders and abettors of this individual in this U-Haul truck, which we find out had been sitting there all day. Their mutual aid person bringing them food and supplies and all kinds of other things. And so here's the shooting of said driver. Watch this. I'll take this one down just for a second.
He called for a medic. I'm an EMT, and I treated him over here.
Oh, darn it. Never mind.
So,
we'll just go back.
And the Coast Guard just wants to go do their job. And they can right now.
So what they did was, it's hard to see because it's dark. And what they did was there's this huge, 4-lane bridge of some sort leading to the Coast Guard headquarters. And the people they put a dumpster in front of it. They have a man, they put pylons and stuff in front of it, cement stuff in front of it, all kinds of things to block the street. Okay. So then the U-Haul comes and blocks the street some more. And then the U-Haul does something incredible.
Not because of
now check this out.
Fools, guys, of these fools.
Let's go a little bit more. So you'll see, because it's going to take forever to get this thing going. The U-Haul, now watch this. Here he goes. So he starts backing in toward an entire panoply of officers. I want you to hear the gunshots, though.
Oh, shit.
We've got to get better play-by-play people, on the citizen journalist front. Thank you. We've heard that. Thank you so much. Now, check it out. Now, you see the cops back here. Dude, stop swearing. Why don't you tell us something we don't know? So they're trying to get his attention. Trying to get the attention. They've taken positions to get ready in case this guy rushes them, because they think it might be a truck bomb. Yeah.
It says pepper balls. It's pepper balls.
He erroneously said. Watch. See, he's going back. He's now going after the police. He seems to relent, and then he goes, okay, I'm just going for it.
Oh, shit.
That was the truck driver just shredding rubber just to get back at the cops. And then you'll hear... Now, this happened 3 weeks ago, and for how on earth it escaped my attention, I just don't even know. But that happens sometimes. I do the West Coast report for PJ Media, and so I'm usually looking up cases like this. However, there you go. So they shot this person, and the person survived and is now going to go to probably federal prison for a long time, because you can't do that. It's against the law. You can't bird dog them, chase them. You can't try to kill them and expect to get away with it. And so that person's up on trial or up on charges right now and is presumed guilty until such time that they are found innocent. No, sorry, did I say presumed guilty? I'm sorry, I was thinking about January 6th people who were presumed guilty. But so presumed innocent until such time that they're proven guilty. All right. So just another abject lesson. It's abject lesson, not object lesson. Another abject lesson to give you an idea of how people are attacking the man. This is like if you wanted to put a bunch of things together, which I have today, and the effort to desensitize people to this kind of behavior, and also to keep people in the streets, to keep doing stuff like this, and then showing people that, hey, we can do this and we can bring the pain, and you never see them go to prison. They just disappear, right? You don't see them go to prison. Federal court hearings aren't televised, but they go to prison. I mean, when they're found guilty. This person's probably going to go to prison. I'm sure that he'll probably try to go into a women's prison. And good luck with that, fella. So, you know, people, in contrast, to compare and contrast, there's been one alleged riot by right-wingers. That's the January 6th one, but it turns out there were a bunch of Antifa people there starting the riot, and there were a bunch of feds there doing whatever they were doing. And so on and on it goes. But, I would just suggest to you that when you try stuff like this, I don't know, it seems kind of hanky. And it's kind of insurrection-y, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm kind of pissed at these people who think they can take the law into their own hands to be uncivil. I mean, that's to break the social contract, to not follow the law. I mean, those are all things part of the social contract. We're all supposed to, if we all do that, then guess what? People are safer. But they don't. And they take issue with how we vote. They take issue with how we speak. They take issue and try to silence people who have a different desire than theirs. They try to, if you will, change the results of an election, if you will, as the Democrats did in 2016, 2017, and all through that Russia thing. That was all an effort to oust a president of the United States. And they did it through several means. Obviously, all the lawfare that was going on. Good grief, that was ridiculous. Well, we're going to get him out. Then we're going to go okay, that didn't work. We're going to impeach him. And then we're going to impeach him again. I mean, what do you think that was about? What do you think trying to keep him off the ballot was about? To not even let him go. Who are the people who are for democracy again? This is what democracy, or is it those people that are chanting in the streets? Who are bird dogging ICE officers, doxing ICE officers, trying to hurt ICE officers as they're doing in Portland? Are those the democracy people? No. And so I think it's one of those times when you really ought to, you better recognize. You better recognize. We've had a big change, possibly, in our elections. In fact, a big news story occurred this week. And it's about mail-in balloting because, of course, we know that mail-in balloting is the easiest kind of voting to fake. We know that because we've been told that for years. Jimmy Carter said that. I mean, it's obvious, right? I mean, Oregon has a video. As somebody in Oregon put out a video that shows you how to take a ballot out of the mailing envelope, change the vote, put it back in, and have it counted. This is crazy. So I talked to J. Christian Adams about how the Supreme Court is going to take a look at a mail-in ballot case in which they will, the question they're going to confront is, can you continue to count ballots that come in after Election Day? Even though they may have the postmark on Election Day on them, there's one state that goes 3 weeks. So anyway, I asked J. Christian Adams about that, and because he's a big dog. He's a guy, and he's with a PILF organization that does election law. He's got a dog in this fight Let's find out what he says about this case. Happy to have you too. What happened? The U.S. Supreme Court decided to take a mail-in ballot case, and they will take it up next session. How important is this issue?
Well, it's so important that the Public Interest Legal Foundation brought a lawsuit in North Dakota to try to get this teed up too about a year ago, because the most destabilizing thing to American elections, in my view, is ballots coming in after the election and being counted, and giving us endless delays in learning who won.
Mm-hmm.
So we sued in North Dakota because they take ballots there for, I think, 3 weeks, maybe it's 13 days. I can't remember.
Wow.
And we said that that's a violation of this federal law. The federal judge in North Dakota said our client didn't have standing. We think he did. So we never got to run it up the flagpole. But this finally, we're going to have a decision on what does the federal statute say about when the election has to be over with.
And in the Constitution, it says that we have an election day. And even though a mail-in ballot, in this case that we're talking about, is comes into the post office, it's stamped and it's all ready to go and verified, you can still accept those ballots for 5 days. And it seems like, as you allude to, election day just keeps going on and on. We have a race I'm looking into, the Seattle mayor's race, and it's a week later and they haven't even counted 300,000 votes. It's just insane.
Yeah. So a couple things. It is a federal statute. It's a federal statute law, right? It's been passed as an act of Congress that it's election day. This Constitution is silent on when the election takes place. It just basically says Congress can decide this. And I think in late 1800s, Congress passed the statute, and then it was amended just like 2 years ago. And it says that the ballots have to be cast by election day. So the question becomes, what is cast? Victoria, it varies state by state. Some states don't allow any ballots to come in late, and states like North Dakota and Mississippi allow them to come in for weeks. So that's what the Supreme Court decision will clarify.
And it can be postmarked and all that. But how reliable is the U.S. Post Office at conducting chain of custody on elections?
Well, take a look at a case we filed in Virginia about 2 years ago. And we struck down a practice by the Virginia Department of Elections. Actually, it was 4 years ago. Time flies. And they were accepting ballots late with no postmarks, right? Like they have a statute that says it has to be postmarked by election day. The Virginia Department of Elections just dispensed with that law, like by edict. So we sued them. I actually argued the case. It was kind of fun. And you're not going to believe this, Victoria. The position of the Virginia Attorney General's office was, oh, those laws are quaint little antiquated things. That's literally what they were arguing in their briefing, that's just a relic from a bygone era. Elections are way more complicated now, so we have to suspend the law. That is absolutely what Virginia was arguing. Wow. And thankfully, the Public Interest Legal Foundation won that.
I was going to say that's before Jason Miyares, I imagined, because I imagine he would have been on the other side of that. Of course, now you've got the guy who likes to kill Republicans as the Attorney General of the state of Virginia, so the Commonwealth of Virginia. So good luck with that. Good luck with that. Oh, okay. So now, what is next in the pipeline? How impactful? Let's say that the Supreme Court does say no, postmarks don't count. Election day is election day, and how big would that be? How would that change things?
Well, look, there's no silver bullet in election litigation. Let's just remember that. A lot of people think if you just do one thing, the sun will rise. But it's not like that. And this would be a very good thing. It'd be particularly good in places like Virginia. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, Mississippi, whatever, Illinois, states that accept ballots late, it'll make a difference. But not all states accept ballots late.
Right.
It's not a national difference.
Yeah, it's these states: California, Colorado, District of Columbia, Hawaii, Nevada and Oregon. Of course, all the really super blue, crazy towns.
I'm surprised it doesn't include, your list doesn't have North Dakota or Mississippi.
Yeah, that's weird. You're right.
Yeah, the list must be a little bit off because
yeah, it was from a liberal agency.
But take a look at Nevada. There's a great example. Adam Laxalt would be in the Senate right now if it weren't for mail ballots arriving late. So, you ask what a difference it will make. Well, I can tell you one person who is a great guy who should be in the U.S. Senate and is not because of this issue.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So what's next in the pipeline? Do we have more mail-in ballot cases coming forward? And what's the timeline on those?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the mail-in ballot cases, this is going to heavily resolve the delay issue. States are free to do mail ballots, right? Remember, the Constitution gives states the power to set their own election rules.
Yeah.
And that's how the founders wanted it because it promotes liberty. It promotes decentralization.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. And
right.
If some knucklehead state like Nevada wants to develop the dumbest possible election system, that's up to the people of Nevada. Go vote out your state legislature. But that's exactly how the founders designed the country.
Okay, so yeah, Constitution says here's election day and also says states you have to run the elections. Now, I know that the Trump administration has been talking about making sure that the federal aspect of the election is held on election day, maybe even a vote in person kind of a thing. Can they do that?
Probably not. I mean, like I said, the states are given the power in the Constitution to decide how to run it. Like it's not a federal issue, and that's by design because the founders saw what happened in places like England with centralized authority. They hated it. They didn't want it. And so the Constitution gives states the power to do that. Yeah, you could pass an act of Congress, but I don't think this is what they're talking about. But you could pass an act of Congress to ban all mail voting. I think that would be stupid because the next Democrats are going to pass an act of Congress to say no voter ID. So you don't want Congress playing in the sandbox because I see how things change. And worse, here's the worst part, Victoria. If they pass an act of Congress that said no mail voting, who enforces that? It's the Justice Department. And I used to work there. And I know what the attitude of the DOJ lawyers will be in 6 years on enforcing those federal laws that we think are good. They won't enforce them because it's exactly what happened with voter roll cleanup laws. I wrote a whole book about this. It's called Injustice. That when I was at the DOJ, the Obama political leaders came down to the office and said, we're not going to enforce these federal laws anymore. It's literally what was said, and no one disputes it. So I see what happens with federal laws when they meet up with DOJ lawyers who are on the left. They just don't get enforced.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I understand. I have one more thing to ask you. It's not on this topic per se, but I did recently speak with the Election Integrity Project California head, and I know you've had some dealings with them before. And I wanted you to see this photo because I've been thinking about doing a story about it, and I wanted to get a perspective on what this means to you in terms of election integrity. Here it is. This is a list of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who have now gone, had their country of origin changed from, let's see, Afghanistan and, Bahrain and even states, Indiana. They've all been changed in the California voter rolls to reflect that they were born in California. What does that mean?
Well, curious. Maybe something, maybe nothing. I'm familiar with the California voter registration database, and it does have a place of birth entry. I've seen them where it says Mexico. If this would be perfect, I'm going to give you two possible scenarios to explain this. One bad, one good. The good one.
Okay.
They've since naturalized, and in order to make the database more relevant, because once you naturalize, it doesn't matter where you're born, right?
Sure.
They've just changed it to California or the United States to
Mm-hmm.
reflect that naturalization event. I would have no problem with that. I mean, it's
Sure.
a dumb thing to keep the column, the entry window, but whatever. I will tell you that we got voter roll applications that said place of birth Mexico, and the person said they weren't a U.S. citizen. And we viewed the presence of the word Mexico in the database to be a flag that should alert you to their citizenship proof when they register. So that's the not bad version. The bad version is that they just did this willy-nilly to clear the path for registration. I will tell you, if I was in a casino, knowing how California operates, I would probably put most of my chips on good explanation. But that's not to say bad might not spin on the wheel. But that's just my first glance at this.
Okay. I just wanted to find out from you and just, find out if there was another way to look at it, because I don't know everything I see. It looks hinky, but what does that mean? I don't know.
Yeah. So the problem, Victoria, in the space is, and I don't know what California IP, they've been in this game probably longer than just about anybody. The problem in the space is that some people will see this and immediately run to the only bad explanation.
Exactly.
And they'll get whipped up and, more proof of fraud. Instead of asking the question, let's figure out why this happened. They just assume that it's bad. And that's a toxic reaction.
Yes.
It leads to people making claims that, by the way, judges, if this were to be litigated, start to not take the whole movement seriously.
Yeah.
That's the big risk.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm glad I ran it by you, because I thought, I don't know what that means. What does it mean? Well, listen, J. Christian Adams, thank you so much. This is your last year on the Federal Civil Rights Commission, right? Or are you already off, or is it? Are you done?
Well, my term ends December 5. There hasn't been any reappointments of anybody. So if there are no reappointments, it's going to be a 4-0 Democratic commission, which will be a very unpleasant experience for the country.
I would like to ask, to whom would you ask, or of whom would you ask, if this is going to happen?
I know the answer to that question. Yeah, I know the answer to that question. So it's just the process, and the government shutdown hasn't helped any on this, because the people who are fixing the issue for next year are staying at home right now.
Oh, that's helpful.
Well, if your presidential personnel office is not at work, then there's no presidential personnel picks.
What? They haven't been working? I mean, I know they're not getting paid, but they're going to get paid now.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
mission accomplished by the Democrats, I guess. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's one of the big problems of the shutdown, is the people aren't getting hired to do, that are good people. That's one of the sideshows.
One more thing, because you have worked at the DOJ, and of course now we're hearing, there's so few people there to do all this work. Understandably, you want to get rid of a bunch of the bad actors. So to what extent do you think that they're doing things efficiently over there?
Oh, none. There's no, it depends on what division.
Yeah.
But it's true. They're down to like 30 prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. And, there's no crime in D.C., right?
Right.
And the problem is you can't hire anybody when there's a government shutdown. There's very little is getting done. And in some ways that's good. Now, maybe not for criminal prosecutions it's good, but very little is getting done at the DOJ because of the manpower shortages in great measure, and the inability to fill those slots now.
Okay. Well, thank you for your unvarnished responses. J. Christian Adams, he is the President and General Counsel of the Public Interest Legal Foundation, and they do exclusively election work. Thank you so much for coming again on the Adult in the Room podcast.
Thanks, Victoria.
I did wish him a happy day. Can you believe this? They're going, how come I'm small? What's going on there? I don't get that. Oh, well, anyway, look. Oh, how did that happen? Did you do that, Alex? I have no idea. Anyway, doesn't matter, does it? So that was an eye opener. I mean, I have to tell you, we did this interview at 6:00 in the morning. I was like, oh, okay. Yes. Thank you. Yes. I can't believe that. But what really galls me, I know that the government shutdown is over for the moment, but we have to go through this possibly another time soon because they're supposed to do another apparent. I'm hoping they just do a regular budget. Could we just get to the regular order, please? But when you've got people at the DOJ who could be working, or at the Office of Personnel Management who could be working and aren't, what the heck, man? What? That's just unbelievable. I listened to our interview earlier today, and I just thought, what is going on? How do they dare not show up? How do you dare not show up? I heard it that they're giving out special bonuses to people who did show up. But lame. I know you're not getting paid. Got it. You also know that you are going to get paid when this whole thing's done. Got it. You didn't go bother to catch up on your work? Screw you. I'm sorry, but come on. That's so bad. Anyway, it's been great spending some time with you. A little longer today, so I apologize for, yammering on as I do. But I hope that you take to heart some of the things that we talked about today. I mean, if, basically if Trump were going to be castigated, wouldn't they have castigated him already? It's just insane. And the fact that you got to keep people in the streets to keep people angry so that you can do everything you can to undermine civil society. That's another thing. And then finally, the basic tenet of that, the freedom, the foundation, is your vote and the sanctity of it and how people are working overtime to make sure we can retain it. So there you go. Listen, head up, heart out, and don't forget to be the adult in the room. Mischief managed. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Adult in the Room podcast. We do not take you for granted. We appreciate every single person who tunes in every week to listen and watch this program. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday, live streaming on Rumble, and then on every other podcast platform shortly thereafter when we can port it over and get it over there as soon as we can. All the shows can be found at victoriataft.com, where the censorship regime has been banned by me. Follow me on social media at these names: Victoria Taft, the Adult in the Room podcast, and the Victoria Taft Show. Send media inquiries, or any others for that matter, to victoria@victoriataft.com. And here's a big ask. Would you please subscribe, share, like, comment, recommend, and give this program a 5-star rating where you can? We really appreciate it. We do not take that for granted either. Follow my work at, you guessed it, victoriataft.com. PJ Media, I write tons over there. Flamingo Audiobooks, and of course the radio. I don't do this alone. This show is produced and engineered by Overall Media. 1A Cast is responsible for some of the Adult in the Room podcast's imaging. Logo design by Hageman Creative. The Adult in the Room podcast is produced at Flamingo Road Studios. All rights reserved.